It says I'm live. Man, I love this new StreamYard environment, right? Got intros, outros, all kinds of things. So, folks, I have been doing a lot of soul searching over the last few weeks. As you may have noticed, there's been a lot of changes happening. So, I offer some very basic hosting packages to some of my clients now. We are constantly growing, and you see what it said in the bottom of that little intro video there was, full service agency. So, you know, do you need marketing to go with your website? Do you need curriculum development to go with your website? Do you need help reviewing a business plan? Just yesterday, a plugin company had asked us to take a look at some of their sales copy. And so they're from outside the United States. And so when I looked at their sales copy and their layout, I was like, I see what you're doing, right? Like I know why you did this. I know why, your engineers wanted this to happen. I get it. I understand what you're doing, but to the purchaser, to the buyer, our goal is to reduce friction at all times with the end user. And so I was like, so let's look at this from a friction perspective. I made them a quick screen share video, went through the changes that I thought I would like to see them make in their website, and got the email this morning that was so complimentary. It was, hey, we saw your video, we saw your analysis. It's like a needs assessment. We're implementing all of it. And that to me is that's like huge. It's huge because Mañana No Mas is putting itself in the position to be of value to others. And as I look at that, and as I look at who we've had these icebreaker conversations with this week, it's just been a winning week all the way around. Now, this Friday call is not me selling anything. I don't want to sell anything. Well, I'd love to sell everything to you, but this is not a sales call. This is not a sales thing. Typically I get on here and I say, well, this is what Mañana No Mas is doing. Look at the whiteboard. This is all the stuff we're doing. I would rather have, and I don't see a lot of people plugged in right now, so I know that this is kind of a surprise live, but in the comments, if you're watching this in the replay, what are you doing? What are you up to? What are some things you're excited about? What projects do you have coming up that you're going to launch soon? Some of the work that I do with Lifter LMS actually involves helping other agencies. So if you're an agency and you're not already signed up in the lifterlms.com/agency link, then I would encourage you to do that. In fact, let me see if I can go ahead. It says I cannot post comments to some destinations. Let's see who we can post comments to. Hold on. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. The glory of going live right there, right? Okay. And then it's lifterlms.com/agency. All right. So if you are in the position, if you help other people with websites, if you are a freelancer that does work, especially where e-learning is concerned, I would encourage you to sign up for Lifter LMS/agency. If you could do that, that'd be awesome. We've got some agency specific content and agency specific kind of like deals, bonuses for you. And we've got agency specific kind of, I want to call them like live support events that'll be coming up soon as well. So if you're into that, get signed up there, stay in touch, share your projects with me. Let's see what we're working on together. It is over the last 5 years, right? And longer. I could go back 10, 15 years. I always like to celebrate, people's accomplishments. I'm not one of those folks that gets jealous when someone else does good. It's like some people say, oh, I don't want them taking my piece of the pie. And I'm like, well, we can just bake more pie. We'll just bake more pie. What's the problem here? And so when people have a success or a new project or something that they've done, I generally like to get involved and help celebrate that as we move forward. So a couple things in the comments, go ahead and tell me where you're seeing this from or what channel you're on. That would be awesome. Next thing is put in a link to something that you're working on, or something that you're polishing up, something that you are adding value or content to. It doesn't necessarily have to be your specific project, but something that you're attached to. For instance, every year I sign up and I volunteer to ride as many miles as I can on my bicycle to raise money for children's cancer. Well, when I do that and I share the Great Cycle Challenges website, I didn't make that website. I don't have anything to do with that website, but I'm adding to the cause. I'm adding to something that I'm excited to add value to. And so do that. Put those comments in, put those links in. I would love to hear from you. I would love to help you promote your projects. The next thing on my list I'm going to say is, if you've got a book coming out, if you've got a course coming out, if you have a new initiative through the company that you're revealing, I would like to talk to you about possibly setting in on the podcast. I say we, it's a we, right? Because it's an agency thing. So at the end of 2022, we got notified by Anchor, which was our publication distribution thing for our podcast. And it said that our listenership had grown by 300% in 2022. Now, I started out 2022 kind of like, yeah, I'm going to nail this podcast thing. And then halfway through 2022, I was like, I really don't see the fruits of the labor. I want to focus on the direction I want Mañana No Mas to go in. I want to work more with companies one-on-one. I want this. And something had to come back a little bit. And so it was the podcast that I kind of, set on the back burner, if you will. But then at the end of the year, I got, hey, your listenership has grown 300%. And on top of that, we actually had some clients come to Mañana No Mas through the podcast. And so I thought, well, I got to double down on this thing, because apparently this thing is what's working. And so 2023 hit. I doubled down on that. We've got, I think, 6 interviews in the can already, and it's May. So I am looking forward to more and more people that I can profile and spotlight and kind of help prop up through the Mañana No Mas podcast. I've got a couple of folks in the hopper that said that they wanted to be guests, but we haven't officially scheduled their recording date yet. If you're wondering, like, well, what's the process, or how much time does this take, or what's involved, what do I have to do? Folks, I've got a couple of links. That's it. I've got one link where you schedule the time that you want to record your podcast. So you pick your own time and we get it recorded. It only takes me 48, 36 hours, something like that, to actually go through the post-edit process and get it published. So it's not one of those where you record it and you wait 2 months to have it release. We record it, and a couple of days later, boom, it's out in public, right? So we do that. The next link that you get prior to recording the podcast is going to be what I call the podcast prep form. So in there is going to be, your full name, your company name, your contact information, and a short bio that I can use to help introduce you to the audience. And then we just have a conversation. There's not a lot of prep work that goes into it. I don't take a lot of people's time. If we know each other, we'll just schedule the podcast and make it happen. If we don't yet know each other, if we haven't already had a face-to-face conversation or a Zoom meeting or something like that, I'll probably schedule a discovery icebreaker meeting where you and I will just sit, have a conversation for 15, 20 minutes, and make sure that we're a good fit, that we gel together, and that it would be something that the audience would appreciate. If all of that falls in alignment, we schedule it, we do the podcast prep form, we record it, a couple days later, it's out. You get all the links. So you can share it and promote it and do the stuff that you need to do to promote your project. And I, of course, get the edification of having wonderful people and guests on my podcast, which just does a better job of making me look brilliant. I like that. So I'm also available to guest on other people's podcasts. So if you have a podcast and you want, a guest that focuses on communication, leadership, WordPress, e-learning, building a business, promoting a business, the difference between hiring a freelancer and hiring a consultant, someone that, like, when people hire Mañana No Mas, a lot of them don't know what they've hired. A lot of folks are like, I just need a website done. But by the time we actually produce the website, we've had a discussion about your clients, your avatar, reducing your friction, your processes, your products, your copy, all that kind of stuff. And that's super, super important because the website is the face of your company to the public. And so I drive that really, really hard through the Manana No Mas agency. And we make sure that when you do business with us, you understand by the time that we're done that you have got a full-fledged, consultation that has been happening for you, and not just, popping up a website or something like that. I think that pretty much dials it back for the day. I can't stress enough. This message today was really just for me to find out what you're up to. I mean, I know I'm here, so I'm doing the talking, but pop into the comments, hit me with a direct message if you don't want to post it publicly. If you just want to say, hey, this is what I'm working on in the background, you can totally do that. If you haven't already listened to the podcast, look it up. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, Anchor. There's a bunch of channels that carry us. It's the Manana No Mas podcast. When you pull it up, the picture for the channel actually has a picture of my bicycle, because I love bicycling. I don't know. I just love putting that personal touch on something, right? So if you find the Manana No Mas podcast has a bicycle on it, then you know that that's the one. So go ahead and give a listen to our podcast. And if that's something that you want to participate in, I've already talked to you about how to do that. The next thing is, over the next couple of weeks, I started it last week, and over the next couple of weeks, I have been creating a WordPress site live with people online. Like I'm saying, this is what I do. Like, this is the mechanics of what I do. And I want to give business owners and people that are new to the WordPress environment a little bit of confidence and a little bit of base knowledge in how the platform works and how you build things. And then that way, if you need my help as an agency, I'm here. If it's something you want to, DIY, you want to do it yourself, that's great. If you need hosting as an option, I've got lots of solutions for you in that area. And with that, folks, I think I'm going to call it done and start my weekend. My son is organizing a bunch of stuff here in the garage, if you hear that in the background. And that's because we're going to take off for the weekend. He's got hockey. We're probably going to mow a bunch of property and just spend time, two fellas hanging out. You guys have a good one.